Sport Fishing on the Fly is brought to you by Maui Jim Sunglasses. First Tellurium Corp., the future of mining. And Hardy Rods and Reels. Well, one of the best patterns ever created was the Vampire Leech by Todd Oshie. The original pattern is very effective, and Brent Schlenker has added his modifications. So I want to tell you what, Brent's Vampire Leech. Make sure you have these materials ready before you tie the fly. For the hook, we'll use a Hannock size 10 H550 BL jig hook, some 6/0 black thread to tie with, a 1/8 inch chartreuse slotted tungsten bead for the bead, some black marabou for the tail, some black holographic tinsel for the body, some black Arizona semi-seal for the thorax, and some purple UV mohair for the body cover. So to start the fly off, I put the bead on the hook, and I don't want it sitting over the eyelet like that. You'll see with the slotted bead, you want it just on top. And we're going to put our thread in to start the fly off. Now the thread's tied in, I've taken a marabou feather, black one, and I'm going to remove the tip. Just remove the tip from that feather and pull these fibers down because you want this material to swim. And I measure it out just slightly longer than the hook shank, just about the same length or just a bit longer, and tie it in for the tail. And always make sure you go around the back of your tail when you tie it in to keep it vertical, essentially parallel with the hook. Now the tail's tied in, I've taken some of my black holographic tinsel, and I'm just going to tie it in just behind the bead. Wrap it back right to your tail and then right at the hook bend. Bring the thread forward and then wrap in the body. Now that you've got the body tied in, I'm going to take just a small amount of my black dubbing, the semi-seal, and I'm going to tie it in, just dub it onto the thread, just wind it on, and keep it fairly thin because we're going to pull this out and form a thorax on the fly. So again, just wrap it up, cover a bit of the body. Now, before you start the next one, take a dubbing pick and just pick all that material out. You want to pick this material out as much as you can. Don't wreck your thread before we tie in the next part. And pull that material back. So that's going to blend with the next layer we're going to put on. Now that we have the thorax picked out, we've got a bit of this black layer underneath. We're going to form a small little dubbing loop. So I just take some hackle pliers, wrap my thread over, and I'm going to dub in some of this real long material. I've got this UV mohair, and it's very long, and that's what I want. I want this to make sure it goes all the way back to the tail. So we're going to form a small dubbing brush, and wrap it up. And then what you want to do is pull this material out. Pull it out. You want it quite long. So pull a lot of this material, keep it long, all pulled back, and then wrap it forward. Now as you wrap it, you only want a couple of wraps. You want to keep this material pulled back. You can see it forms a real nice body on that fly. About 3 wraps and then tie off right behind the bead. And cut off your excess. Now that we have the very top of the body tied in, what I'm going to do is just do a couple of whip finishes. right behind the bead. Pull it in tight. Cut off your excess. And then again, just pull this material out. And again, we want it nice, thin, and all the way back. You want that to go all the way back to the hook. And once you get to the tail, never cut it, but pull that material off. Just pull all that mohair off. We want it to just flow nicely. So there it is, the finished Brent's Vampire Leech. You know, it's a little different modification to the original by Todd Oshie, but you know, it's super effective having that slender look to it. So make sure you have some in your fly box.